Hi teachers, if you are trying to get students to write a formal piece such as an essay, persuasive speech, expository piece about a topic, then this is the video for you if you have students in your class that just cannot understand structure. So let's go. Okay, so here's the context. I went through school, I even sat scholarship, what a joke, and through university, not knowing how to write an essay. And it was only when I began teaching that I realized I needed to teach my students how to do this. And so I had to find ways to do that. First, I had to understand the whole essay structure. Now, you might be scandalized by that. I don't care, because it's actually made me a better teacher of essays. And sure, I teach essay writing in a very formulaic way, which might be a little bit confining for some students. However, I will let them go for gold. Okay, I can differentiate. So, what I want everybody to understand is that we need to empathize with these students, and you can have the brainiest kid on the planet and they still just have this mental block with structuring an essay. So that's what I want to discuss today. So it doesn't matter about their ability in every other aspect of your subject. It doesn't matter about their age. They might be missing the structure side of things. So let's talk about that. Right, so it's really important that we start at the beginning, because often you have, say, a year 12 student that's having getting into all of this pickle, and you find that actually you need to pare it right back, go back to the beginning and start with good habits. So for me, that is telling students that they are going to write 5 paragraphs. Between each paragraph, they are going to hit enter twice so that they miss a whole line between each of those paragraphs. Then I'm going to say to them, the first paragraph is an introduction, and we'll learn what that means later. Then there are going to be 3 paragraphs, one for each point you're going to make. That's the body. So the introduction is like the head of the person. 3 paragraphs are the body. And then there's a conclusion. That's your last paragraph, and that's your feet, if you want to call it. So you can use those metaphors, those visuals, so the building blocks for 5 paragraphs, or an actual body, things that make it easy and emphasize. We hit enter twice between each of those paragraphs so that we miss a whole line. Told you we were going back to basics. Okay, so the next thing I would look at would be looking at the basic format of a body paragraph. And so I know that we all have a lot of acronyms that we use, so like SEX and SEXE, with the SEXE for seniors, so statement, explanation, example, evaluation, SEXE, or just SEX, statement, explanation, example, or example, explanation, doesn't matter which way around you do it. And there's T and text as well, topic, explanation, example. I'm a fan of P, point, explanation, example, simply because I like the toilet humour of saying you have to pee on the page and you have to do it 3 times. Happy days. So it sort of lightens the mood, because I think that you need to keep it light and make it all seem easy. Because we're back to basics, we're making sure that we can have something for them to build on later on when they're getting into that more complex writing, right? Just looking at my notes here. Oh yes, when you are talking about the example at this stage for these beginners or these back to basics kids or remedial kids, whoever you're teaching, I wouldn't use the word evidence. There's an argument that bring it in early and they get used to it, and I get that, but I'm empathizing because I know what it was like for me, and if a teacher had brought in a new vocabulary like evidence, even if I had heard it spouted around for the last 3 years of my high schooling, that's just one more thing that my brain has to grapple with, if you get my point. So as I say, we are going back to basics. So I would say example. I think it's really important that you're aware of your vocabulary when you are teaching a back to basics couple of lessons about formal writing or essays, whatever. Okay, that would be my main thing. The other thing is I would keep with the visual. Now here's something I prepared earlier. So this is Lego. So you've got, I said before this was going to be really formulaic. So you've got your 3 points up here, point 1, point 2, point 3, and there they are, point 1, point 2, point 3. And we have got a big gap between each paragraph, right? And then example, red, danger, danger. We have to have examples, so I'm using the colours as well to help. And then yellow, your bright spark stuff, your explanation, and then later on you can move into the critical thinking, wider world, human behaviour, evaluation kind of stuff, okay? So that's your bright ideas kind of thing. So it's yellow. So here are our 1, 2, 3 points, and they are also mentioned up here in my introduction. Now you could also have them along here as well at the bottom, at the bottom, or you could teach them that a conclusion is about an evaluation, an opinion. So keep it simple, like an opinion. So why camping sucks altogether. Okay, that's up to you how you want to do it. But I think that with the Lego, the visual, it works really well. I don't know if you can really see the colours very well. My lighting's rubbish because it's way at the end of the day and all of that. But it's quite interesting because my 14-year-old stepson walked in when I had finished this, saw it on my office floor, and he said, "Oh!" And I said, "Yes, you know, the essay structure that I've been trying to teach him." And he went, "Oh, that's cool. That's really cool." And I thought, yes, Lego. And then he said, "Because I can't believe you managed to find 2 of those grey ones." And I was a little bit crushed. But anyway, maybe something like this. One day I'm going to create maybe a freebie or a resource about, you know, something that you can print out that's going to be Lego-like. Or you can just bring in some Lego yourself. But anyway, that's where I was going with this. So I've got my Lego, but what I would teach first, and I think this is really, really important, is I would take out this. I would take out the yellow because what I found, left is right, right is left. What I found is that a lot of students actually don't understand what an example is. So I just want them to make a point, find an example, make a point, find an example. Let's not try and go too far yet. Back to basics. Let's think about what examples are. So we'll do that next, talk about that next. Right, so what is an example? I would keep it formulaic, very, what's the word I'm looking for? Very basic. And give them 2 options, give students 2 options. Of course, it depends if they're writing an essay about a text or if they're writing about why camping sucks. I actually like camping, by the way. But I would say an example is, and I'd have this on my board, words copied from somewhere else. You could say a text if you think that they can cope with that. So words copied. And we use double quotation marks, not those sucky single things that, what are they anyway? Inverted commas anyway, but the double ones, because we are copying. So that's one option. The other option is describing something that's happened in a text or describing anything. So copying or describing. that's an example. Those are the two things they can use for an example. So just keep it basic, keep it clear, so that now they can hopefully nail one of these paragraphs. Okay, so they're just giving a point and an example. From here, I'd go for introduction and then conclusion. So you'll notice I'm still not putting in, look how helpful this is. This is great for in a classroom, right? Because I'm just referring to it all the time. Oops, yeah. Anyway, so I'm still not going for this. I'm going for the introduction next. So I would start by not thinking of the term introduction relating to writing. I would use it as it's meant to be used. So what is an introduction? Where we introduce people, right? And people introduce themselves. So it's our pepeha, it's everything about us. So what we're doing, we are introducing the points we are going to make. And then we refer to our formulaic little thing here where we're going to say, camping is terrible because you get wet, you get bitten by mozzies, and you get sand in your bum. All right, so 3 things there, and those are those there. So it's all color-coded, happy days. So that's, I'm introducing what I'm going to say. So often we don't actually say that. We say, well, let's write our introduction now. We'll go over what we're going to say. We don't say we're introducing it like, hey, like we're introducing a person. And I think maybe making that little analogy might be helpful. So that's your introduction. For your conclusion, everybody hates conclusions. If you want, as I said before, did I say before? Just get them to regurgitate the introduction if they like, and just change it up a little bit later. Talk to them about that, because they might not be ready for anything else. But I think later on you can say, well, what is a conclusion? You know, if you're doing an investigation and you find fingerprints and you find a stray hair and you come to the conclusion that that person over there did the crime. So it's a conclusion. It's coming to formulating an answer. So that can be a statement at the end based on the 3 points that they've made. So I think just keep it simple, as I keep saying. You know, like cats are the best pets because X, Y, and Z. We've said that in our essay, in our writing. So ergo, our conclusion, cats are a fine choice for a household pet. Just one sentence is fine. It's a conclusion. It's a start. Please, for the love of my sanity, not that it matters really what I think, but get students out of the habit of writing in conclusion. So when I was at school, I always remember my English teacher saying to me, Sue, why have you said, I am writing to ask you, or I am writing to inform you? It's obvious you're writing. You don't need to say that in your writing. They're reading your writing. So, and it's kind of stuck with me, and I know a lot of people hate in conclusion, or even to conclude, but you know, that's more bearable for me. But it should be obvious it's your conclusion because it's in the last paragraph of the formal writing. It should be obvious it's your conclusion because you can tell by what you say that it's a conclusion. So please get them out of that habit. I'm all over formulaic to help these kids through, but I can't see how that helps them at all. So I cut that out. You might have heard me say before that I think one of the best PDs, best things you can do is to actually do what you are asking your students to do. So, you know, I think I've said before, when was the last time you wrote a year 12 or 13 essay and really sorted out that empathy? And I know some of you know, some of you will be incredible writers, you've done your masters and your PhD and all of that. However, maybe some empathy for those struggling students is needed sometimes. Yeah, so anyway, I think write a really, really basic essay, and then ham it up, make it something crazy, you know, like the camping one, getting sand in my bum. Who cares? At least it's fun then. And then I would put in my explanation and maybe even a little bit of wider world thinking in my example, and type it up, put it in the center of the page, hand it out. Do not put it on Google Classroom and expect them to look at this on those tiny screens where they have to scroll to this bit and then to this bit and then to this bit. They need that holistic picture, so print it out and then annotate it with them. Give them the, you know, the words on the board, the point, the explanation, the example, introduction, conclusion, their word bank, and then get them to label the parts. And then they are seeing what this little yellow brick is all about in your example. So that would be the next thing that I would do. Next thing, I would get students to look at my plan. So I've showed them my essay and we've annotated it. I might even give them an annotated one first. They glue that in their book so that they can refer to it when they're sitting at home typing up, or in class typing up their own essay. They've got this sitting beside them on their desk so they can refer to it. So perhaps you gave them one already annotated, then you gave them a second different essay, asked them to annotate that with your help. Either way, whatever you do, they've got that as a reference. But then the next step would be to show them your planning. So planning, I think it's really important for students to understand they need to have the 3 points they're going to make, but they need to plan the evidence they are going to use. Sorry, examples they are going to use. Now, why is that? Because if, you know, having learned from experience, banging out an essay in an exam, and then I have done this, got to my third paragraph, even fourth if I'm going for gold, and realised, oh, bugger, the evidence that I want for this paragraph I've used in paragraph 1 or 2, whatever. What am I going to do? And that's because I didn't plan. And I often hear teachers saying to students, plan what points you're going to make. I take it further, plan your points, plan the examples that are going to go with those points. And then once there, I favour with all this essay writing, so I'm getting a bit beyond myself now in the purpose of this video, then I would say make a few notes about, you know, that wider world, those wider world references, or referring to other texts, comparing with other texts, that kind of thing. So they've really got this incredibly concrete, quite detailed plan, and then boom, you can just go for that writing. And say planning, if you're taking an hour for an essay, again, I'm getting beyond myself because we're supposed to be talking remedial essay writing here, formal writing, but never mind. If they've got an hour in an exam to write an essay, I say to them 15 minutes planning, at least. Because if you do that, you know that essay is going to be good and it'll be easy to write at speed later on. So anyway, I deviated a bit there. But anyway, so yeah. Show them your plan and then give them a template to put their own planning on, and that can be your camping trip or why chickens are cool, whatever. And so write down your 3 points. Now write an example for each of those. So it's a template. If they have a table that they can fill in, it's far less imposing than having a blank sheet of paper. So there's your scaffolding, right? So they're planning because they've seen how you did it. They've seen the essay you wrote. They've seen your plan. Now they're going to plan their own. So again, the templates and the point and example only at this stage. Once students have their plan, then they can start writing. And I would, well, I always do, get students to write their body paragraphs first, because, I don't know, for me anyway, I feel more au fait with my essay and better able to introduce it after I have written it. Having said that, if your plans are really detailed, it's a lot easier. But so we're talking now remedial kids here, get them to write their plan and then get them to write 1 paragraph, not 3. So 1 paragraph and then you mark it, because otherwise they might be going down the wrong track. And remember, that's just the point and the example at this stage. You can differentiate and get them to explain what they mean as well, but for a lot of students, the strugglers that I'm talking about, it's just point, example, point, example, point, example, and then the magic, of course, proofread, because anytime we do writing in English in any subject, I can't believe I said English, in any subject, we get them to proofread, and we haven't been. That's why our literacy rates, one of the reasons why our literacy rates are rubbish, because students don't think that it's important. So they write 1 paragraph, they proofread it, they hand it in. All right, so that's what you do next. My final word is about what you have students write about. My goodness, have you ever tried to write an essay for the sniper? Was it Lemo Flaherty or Flaherty? Whatever, I can't actually remember. But anyway, the sniper. I hate that story with passion. It's very hard to write about, especially for juniors, for students who struggle with essays anyway. So many teachers give that story out thinking, oh, this will engage the reluctant reader because it's all about killing everyone, and that's fine, except you try and run an essay on it. So I'm sure many of you will disagree with me, but that's my experience. So it's really hard to find 3 good points on any essay topic for that short story. Yes, in my opinion, and the evidence. So be very, very careful what you give students who are learning to write formally, learning to write essays, or it might be a persuasive thing that you're doing. Be careful with the topic that you are giving the students. Another little tip is it's great to plan and write an essay on the good old whiteboard with students, but I highly recommend that you have a bit of a plan and write a bit of a paragraph first as part of your planning, because I have been in many a pickle thinking, oh, let's do this, this, yep, okay, we'll choose this question, definitely have 3 points about it, actually these points are kind of dumb, and the evidence and that, nah, and it's kind of a waste of a lesson when you go, you know what, kids, that didn't work. Having said that, they also learn about why it's important to choose a good essay question, right? So, but I think, remember, it's remedial, so choose something, a topic that has 3 really clear, quite different points that they can make. You could give them a choice of only 2 things to write about. They choose that or they choose that, because otherwise it's just, oh my goodness, this is too much a choice. Or don't give them a choice at all. But I quite like 2. You got to choose one or the other. What are our 3 points? And you could divide the class in half. And okay, guys, what are some of the points we could make about this? Choose 3 of them. So keep it really simple, very tight. I think that's it. I'm going to finish my blog. There might be a bit more in there, but I think that's the basics. Remember, keep it visual, keep it basic, pare it back, and empathize. And reap the rewards of fantastic formal writing later on. Sorry I'm talking really slow. I'm just really tired. And yeah, have a good week. Enjoy your essay teaching, formal writing teaching. See you, bye.